Okay, so for ellipses, what we're going to do is, oh, whoops, sorry, wrong one. Okay, so for ellipses, what we're going to do is we're going to take a coffee cup, or some kind of cup. So, really quick, pause the video and run and grab one so you have something to look at. Now, if you have your cup here, and you're looking at it from the top, you can see it's a circle on top, right? It's round. So we're going to draw that real quick. So just looking at my cup, it's round. And so I'm just going to, darken up my line to clean this up. And then I've got, my handle here. There's a slight rim. And then like a little circle in the middle there. So that's my coffee cup, right? So, but if you were to tip the cup, because we usually don't look at, if you were going to draw a coffee cup, you wouldn't draw it like that, right? You draw it kind of from the side. So look what happens at the top when it's tipped like that. It's not a circle anymore. I mean, technically it is still around top, but from where you're looking at it and what your eye is seeing, this is no longer a circle, it's an ellipse. And making that change and not trying to draw your cup like here, we'll do our bad example here. So what you don't want to do is to draw your cup like this with a perfect circle on top and then have that on the bottom. That's not right. Looks weird, right? So if I'm looking at it a bit from an angle, which for, let's see, I'm trying to tip it the right way for the uh, document camera. Then you've got an ellipse that's slightly shorter than it is wide. So I'm going to use a very similar motion to how I did before. So if you'll note, an ellipse is narrower at the ends, but it doesn't come to a point. It's still rounded. And if you were to quarter it like that, all these quarters are equal. They're all the same size. So, then if I'm building my cup like this, that makes sense. And this is something we're going to be talking about with other shapes too. And if you're unfamiliar with the term, it's called perspective drawing, which is where you draw things to where the shape of them can change depending on how far away from you they are, where your eye is, and where the object is, and all of that. And so then, let's see. And so that's about like that. So if we were to tip it more like this, that ellipse would kind of squish down even further, but it would still follow those rules for an ellipse. It would still be rounded at the ends, not pointed. It's not shaped like a football. And it's also not. So here's what you don't want to do. You don't want to do this where it's pointed like a football. That's football. You don't want it to be like a football, like the track around a football field where it's like this, where you basically just got a rectangle with slightly rounded corners. You want to have it where it's basically just a squished circle. And remember, you want to be able to quarter it and have each of those quarters be the same size and shape. So here I've got my, and I'm still doing that same thing we were doing where you're kind of lightly sketching it out and then you come back in later with a darker line to clean it up. Like this. And then I can draw the rest of my cup down here. the handle is going to be going off the page a bit, but that's okay. We're not focusing on the handle anyway. But you can see this is still going to follow the rules for that ellipse, because no matter how large the ellipse is, or how squished down that ellipse is, you still want to be able to quarter it, and you don't want the edges or the ends to be at a point. Okay, this one's really messy. I'm sorry about that. So you got those. And so go ahead and draw that cup from a couple of different angles. Then we're going to do a larger one on the bottom. There. And for the sides, I'm just kind of curving down a bit and then doing a little curve at the bottom here. I can add my handle. So, and that's it. And if you want to shade this in and practice a little bit, you can. Like I'm going to do, and you don't always have to draw this little lamp. I just find it helpful when I'm explaining, like, this is where the light comes from. And then your shading would be darkest around this edge, kind of like with the sphere. Just think about where that light is coming from and where it's going to make the most shadows. If you're not sure where shadows would be created, then that's why you have a cup right in front of you that you can use. Yep. Ponder the cup. I sound like one of my professors there. Sorry. I'm just laying color in here and kind of layering it like we were talking about before with that sphere up there. And then if I'm looking at my cup and I'm trying to move it to where the light is hitting it, like how I'm, okay, my light is going a little bit differently in the room, but you can see where this bit inside is darker than this edge, because you can see where this edge is kind of shining. That's where the light is really hitting. So I'm going to go in. Here we go. And add shadow inside. And you can always just kind of come in and blend all that up. I'm trying to work quickly so I don't make this video longer than it already is going to be. So this is a little bit messy, but you get the general idea. And then if you end up blending out of your shape you're trying to do, that is not a big deal. We can always clean it up with an eraser later. That's why we have them. there we go. And whenever you're not sure where to put the light and the highlights, look at your cup. And yours could look different than somebody else's. Yours is not going to look exactly like mine. And that is perfectly fine. You want to make sure that you're drawing what your eye sees, not what you think you see. Because remember, and that's the biggest rule with still lifes. Because remember, whenever you think about a coffee cup and you're thinking, oh, the top's a circle, this is what you think you see. It's a circle with a handle. Like, this is what you think you see, but you need to look at what you're really seeing, and what you're really seeing is a collection of highlights and shadows and different colors. You're not, you're not seeing a circle when you're looking at a cup like this. So you need to make sure you're not drawing what you think you see, draw what you're actually seeing. And as we're going through this unit, we'll be working on that some more. And I think that's something that will really help with your still lifes, is when you're keeping that in mind. So see, I'm just cleaning this up here a bit where I smudged outside of where I meant to. And then I can even clean up this highlight a little bit too. And it's not perfect, but that's okay. And that's it. So tomorrow, adjust this a little bit. Document cameras. Ugh. So by the time you're done, your sheet should look about like this, and you can just take a picture of it and upload it to the assignment. And that'll be it for today. And then tomorrow, we're going to talk about squares and building cubes. So thank you for joining me, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Ah.